Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I used to think Vegas was just a land of all-you-could-eat buffets, 24/7 casinos, and neon landscapes. But after living here a few years, I've learned we also are a mecca for comfort food. If it exists, Vegas probably serves it. And if it doesn't, give it a minute, as someone's most likely already working on it. Restaurants open and close faster than blackjack hands play out, and just when you think you've seen it all, boom, another hidden gem pops up. Today we're heading to one of those gems, Smokey Joe's Cafe, a new arrival at Sam's Town Casino. And stay tuned to the end, we have a special offer from Smokey Joe's to our viewers. Well, we have a lot of dishes to cover, so let's get started. We began the day with a bowl of nostalgia. Tomato basil soup and I go way back, and I'll almost always order it if I see it on the menu. Made from scratch, this has a bright, creamy tomato broth with just the right touch of sweetness. Picture yourself on a chilly day with a grilled cheese sandwich in one hand and this soup in the other. Yep, it's that kind of vibe. Just make sure you don't burn yourself as it comes out piping hot. The basil doesn't smack you in the face. It's soft, subtle, and lets the tomato shine. When I heard they make almost everything in-house, I had a feeling it'd be good, and I was right. Fish and chips may be Britain's most iconic comfort food, but its roots are surprisingly multicultural. Fried fish was introduced by Jewish immigrants in the 1600s, while chips, what we call fries, gained popularity in working-class England by the mid-1800s. Together, they became a national obsession and a staple of seaside towns and corner chippies alike. Even during wartime rationing, fish and chips were one of the few dishes that remained off the ration list, considered vital to morale. Good decision. Now back to Vegas, where this version does the tradition proud. These fish and chips came out straight from the fryer to the plate. The beer batter is light, crisp, and airy, no soggy coating here, and it's got that subtle, malty lift you only get when done the right way. The cod inside is fresh, flaky, and clean tasting, with zero fishy funk. This is how fish is supposed to taste. The tartar sauce, not some packet afterthought, it's house-made and packed with flavor. The fries are thick, golden beauties, none of those sad, frozen crinkle cuts. These taste hand-cut and fresh. I brought my own homemade ketchup as usual, and they were the perfect match. Even the coleslaw holds its own. It's a classic version, nothing fancy, but it's crisp, well-balanced, and refreshing next to all that glorious fried food. Honestly, after this plate, I'm excited to try more fried things on the menu. If they're anything like this, I'm in for a treat. This is a beauty of a steak. My guess, it's about 14 ounces. Of course, I ordered it charred rare, or as we used to call it back in the day, black and blue. Anyone else remember that term? Let me know in the comments what you would call this. I love learning foodie lingo. Now back to the meat. It's tender, ridiculously so. I'm cutting through it with a butter knife like it's warm brie. And here's the real sign of quality New York strip. The fat is not just edible, it's delicious. You know what we always say, where there's fat, there's flavor. And don't let anyone convince you otherwise. There's a buttery richness to the beef, deep umami notes that make you close your eyes and nod after each bite. It's seasoned simply with salt, pepper, and a well-executed char that locks in all that savory goodness. No need to overcomplicate it. This steak speaks for itself. The vegetables were fresh and sautéed with butter and garlic. Still nice and crisp, not overcooked. The mashed potatoes were real deal stuff. Made with milk and butter, not that whipped from a bag nonsense. And the gravy, also homemade, thick, rich, and seasoned just right. This is simple, straight-up nostalgia on a plate. One bite of this tender, slow-cooked pot roast, and I'm instantly transported back to holiday shopping trips as a kid, when my parents would drag us all through the mall and we'd end up perched at the Woolworth's lunch counter with paper bags filled with half-bought presents and no time for anything fancy. That's exactly the vibe here. It's not trying to be a 5-star dish. It's not deconstructed or topped with microgreens. It's served heaped over a thick, buttery slice of Texas garlic toast. There's a name for this serving style, but it escapes me at the moment. You take a bite with the bread, and suddenly it's the 1970s. Bell-bottoms are the rage, Star Wars is still playing at the local theater, and dinner is hot and hearty. The meat is fall-apart tender, slow-braised, and seasoned just enough to let the beefy flavor shine. Is it refined? No. Is it comforting? Absolutely. This is the kind of food that doesn't apologize. It shows up in a flannel shirt with a gravy-stained apron and says, "Sit down and eat, now." Well, speaking of authoritative figures, according to YouTube, 80% of you watching right now aren't subscribed. For shame. Subscribing is free, helps us grow and to bring you more reviews. And if you find value in our reviews, consider making a small donation using the link to buy me a coffee in the description area below. With Southern roots, I've had a lifelong love affair with fried chicken. If I see it's homemade, it's a done deal. I'm ordering it. I remember when I was about 5 or 6, and we just moved to Anaheim, not far from Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. Back then, the fried chicken, jams, and pies at Knott's were just beginning their journey to being legendary. My mom couldn't wait to try it, so she piled all 5 of us into the car and off we went. The chicken actually reminds me a lot of that Knott's Berry Farm chicken. It's made from scratch, and they tell you right up front you'll need to wait 20 minutes because they fry it fresh to order, and that's always a good sign. I felt the meat could have used a bit of brining to bring out more flavor. It was just slightly bland. But the crust, oh, that crust, crunchy, golden, and packed with seasoning, it hit all the right notes. As a die-hard fried chicken fan, I left happy. They're still ironing out a few menu options since they're new, so no baked potatoes yet. But honestly, I'm perfectly happy with another scoop of these creamy mashed potatoes. They're silky, flavorful, and pure comfort. As for the veggies, I'll take more of those as well. When they're done right, they're not just filler. They're playing a supporting role properly. This plate took me back to my childhood, memories of theme park dinners, family road trips, and my mom critiquing chicken like a Southern Gordon Ramsay. I think she would have liked this one. These wings have it all. Honestly, I prefer them to the fried chicken, and that's saying something. They're made entirely from scratch, and these beauties get the full-on VIP treatment. First, a good brining that soaks in all that flavor, then a coating of tangy buttermilk breading that fries up so crisp, practically shatters. The meat inside is shockingly juicy and packed with seasoning from the inside out. We went with the spicy version, but they'll make them however you want, mild, hot, or sauced in barbecue. The ranch on the side, house-made, and it tastes like it. Creamy, tangy, salty. It's everything ranch should be. Next time, I'm skipping the small talk and ordering 10 for $17.79. If you only order one thing here, this might be it. This cinnamon roll is massive, like small dog massive. Sure, it's listed as a breakfast item, but if you're anything like me, sweets don't need to conform to societal temporal norms. Translation, any time of day is perfect for a cinnamon roll. One bite, and I'm back in my grandma's kitchen. She was known as one of the best bakes back in the day, and this tastes just like something she'd proudly serve. The cream cheese frosting is insanely good, tangy, rich, slathered on thick. There's enough cinnamon here to make a spice trader blush, and I'd bet good money there's an entire stick of butter baked into each swirl. We ordered a scoop of ice cream on the side, supposedly to balance the sweetness. I say that with a wink, because let's be honest, we're dealing with sweets, so we're just here for the indulgence. An ice cream plus warm cinnamon roll, that's a match made in dessert heaven. Honestly, I'm now stuffed. For anyone worried that we eat too much, well, stop worrying. We're taking some of this home. We are coming back tomorrow to film part 2 of this video. And this was the perfect sweet note to end the day. Well, we're back for day 2, and we're beginning with a time-honored classic of comfort food fame. country fried steak. And this, well, just look at it. Huge, golden, crispy, and about as close to Texas size as you'll find in Vegas without someone slapping a cowboy hat on it. Honestly, anything fried at this spot has been a hit so far, and this one is no exception. You can get it as a breakfast plate with eggs and potatoes, or go full dinner mode with mashed potatoes and veggies. But let's talk breakfast. I usually don't lose sleep over an English muffin, but it showed up at the table already slathered with real creamy butter. Who could resist? And as that weren't enough, a dab of jelly and suddenly I'm drooling. Okay, back to the star of the show. This isn't one of those frozen, ground-up mystery meat patties. This is a real steak, freshly breaded in a buttermilk wash, dipped in seasoned flour and breadcrumbs, then fried until it sings. I swear, this might be the best country fried steak in the entire city. I'm not exaggerating. If you're a fan of this Southern classic, Smoky Joe's will be your new place. The country gravy is rich and peppery, just the way it should be. The scrambled eggs are fluffy with a buttery finish, and the potatoes, crispy, golden, and, well, perfect. What a great way to get day 2 off the ground. Now, for a very brief detour. I'd not been in Sam's Town before. What a shocker. On the outside, you'd never expect what you'll find on the inside. There's the usual casino experience, but as you wander farther and farther in, you suddenly behold this cavernous inner world containing thick greenery with a rainforest feel, simulated New York turn-of-the-last-century high-rise apartment buildings, and a huge rock-based waterfall. The courtyard is filled with the sound of falling water. It's a surreal environment for sure. Most unexpected, and a fun escape from our desert climate. Okay, now back to our regular scheduled program. When a place is called Smoky Joe's, you better believe I'm ordering something barbecue themed. And so, the barbecue ranch burger sounded like a no-brainer. Plus, I overheard a table next to us the other day waxing poetic about the onion rings, so I had to order those as a side. This burger clocks in at about half a pound, and I asked for it rare, of course. It came out with that deep, smoky char from a real fire grill, and I could taste the seasoning right away. They're not shy with the spices here, and that is a good thing. The barbecue sauce is rich and bold. There's the unmistakable flavor of chili powder, and maybe even a hint of coffee. Seems to be all the rage lately, and I'm loving it. Stacked with cheddar, crispy bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, and just to drive the point home, a fried onion ring right on top. Messy? Absolutely. Worth it? No question. This burger is a flavor sensation. Now let's talk about those onion rings. Like everything else fried at Smoky Joe's, these are the real deal. I'm guessing they use the same light buttermilk batter as the fried chicken and wings because the texture is airy, crunchy, and not the least bit greasy. Dip them in the house-made ranch, and you're in for a treat. I even asked for a little extra of that barbecue sauce on the side and noticed the same flavor twist, chili powder, and leave a touch of espresso. Subtle, but adds depth. And bonus points for dusting a little Parmesan on the onion rings. And the best part of it all, the onions stay put when you bite into them. None of that one tough ring pulling out the whole onion nonsense. I hate when that happens. This is exactly the kind of burger you'd expect from a place called Smoky Joe's. Bold, smoky, and satisfying. The only downfall, it didn't come with coveralls. I had a eureka moment when ordering the roast turkey dinner. Remember the pot roast over Texas toast? Well, as soon as I read this roast turkey was served over toast as well, I finally remembered what that style is called, an open-faced sandwich. Anyway, I asked our server Robert about the roast turkey. Without the slightest hesitation, and with the bravado reserved for the ultra-confident, he said, "Everything's good here." Reminded me of a retort from the John Wayne movie True Grit. That's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man. Well, Robert, our server, had both eyes and wasn't fat, but you get my point. Anyway, that was enough for me, and so I had to order it. And wouldn't you know it, first bite was transported. This is one of those dishes that hits you right in the memory bank. Suddenly, it's 1978. I'm a kid again, sitting in a booth with vinyl seats and formica top tables, ordering the daily special off a handwritten board. Remember those open-faced sandwich days? Now let's talk turkey. This isn't deli meat. It's real, freshly roasted white meat carved into thick, uniform slices that are juicy and tender. The gravy is a rich, velvety pour of pure turkey flavor. None of that bland, canned stuff here. The mashed potatoes, just like Mom used to make. No garlic, no rosemary foam, no modern flair. Just old school creamy mashed potatoes with butter and love. Sometimes, simple is the best seasoning. This plate didn't just fill me up, it warmed my heart. If you're craving a little comfort and a whole lot of flavor, this turkey dinner is waiting with open arms. There are a few different ways ribs can be made. Smoked low and slow over some form of aromatic wood chips until meat practically falls off the bone. Braised in a flavorful liquid and then finished on the grill for that sweet char. Or oven roasted, which is what we've got here. And I have to say, while not always my favorite style, it works. They're oven roasted until tender, then slapped on the grill where the magic happens. That's where the chili barbecue sauce caramelizes into a sticky, smoky, finger-licking glaze. I'd hate to be the poor soul scrubbing that grill every night, but my taste buds are thankful someone's doing it. And for a half order, it's enormous, easily enough to satisfy 2 hungry people. If the full rack really is twice this size, you'll need a team and game plan to tackle it. Now, if you're a fan of the ribs at Ellis Island and Village Pub, I think you're going to love these. They've got that same bold, satisfying flavor without needing a smokehouse to get there. The sides? The baked beans aren't scratch-made from dried, but they've been doctored up with enough smoky bacon to make them feel homemade. The slaw is classic. Nothing wild, just a solid, creamy crunch to cut the richness of the ribs. All in all, this plate is a steal in today's world. $20 for a mountain of very meaty ribs, smoky sauce, and sides. That's a tough deal to beat. Would you believe the French dip sandwich isn't French at all? It was born right here in the US, in Los Angeles, sometime in the early 1900s. 2 rival restaurants, Philippe's and Cole's, both claim to have invented it. The story goes that a sandwich accidentally fell into a pan of beef drippings, and instead of tossing it, they served it anyway. And the rest is delicious history. Now, fast forward to today, and here we are with a French dip that holds its own. Robert suggested adding provolone cheese, and I'm glad he did. It brings a creamy, melty layer that pairs perfectly with the juicy beef. The meat is rich, tender, and the au jus is exactly what you want. Salty, beefy, and full of that old-school prime rib flavor. This is a fantastic sandwich. I've always been a dipper, and this one's got me smiling. I ordered it with some crinkle-cut fries that we had yesterday, golden, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside, just the way fries should be. All in all, a fantastic dish. The brownie sundae first appeared in the early 1900s, when soda fountains and diners were all the rage. Legend has it that a hotel chef in Chicago whipped it up for a socialite who wanted something fancier than a cookie, but not as heavy as a cake. The result? Something fancier than a cookie, but not as heavy as a cake. A warm, fudgy brownie paired with cold vanilla ice cream and topped with chocolate sauce. A dessert classic that's been making sweet tooth swoon ever since. The version here is no exception. This brownie sundae is a deliciously rich, chocolatey brownie served warm with velvety chocolate sauce and creamy vanilla ice cream. Then it's crowned with whipped cream and, just for good measure, another drizzle of chocolate sauce.
You had me at brownie sundae.
It's the perfect way to wrap up our second day here. I'm a chocoholic, and this checks every box. Rich, gooey, creamy, and just plain decadent. It's the kind of dessert that doesn't just end a meal, it solidifies a memory. Well, If Smoky Joe's Cafe set out to make comfort food from scratch and serve it with heart, mission accomplished. From beautiful, meaty, succulent barbecue ribs, to wonderful fish and chips, to a brownie sundae and cinnamon roll could make a grown man cry, this place brings all the flavor and none of the fuss. You can taste the care in every dish, and when even the sides get compliments, you know they're doing something right. Smoky Joe's is a newcomer and still working out some of the details, but they already feel like a place that's been here for years. Whether you're in the mood for nostalgia on a plate or just chasing the city's next great chicken fried steak, this spot belongs on your Vegas food map. We'll be back to Smoky Joe's soon. Who knows, maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. And finally, here's the special offer we mentioned in the intro. Say the magic words, Let's Eat Vegas sent you, and receive a free non-alcoholic drink. This offer expires July 31st, 2025. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!